Hey, Coach Joseph, Copper Moose Fitness. Today we're going over the deadlift. So we're going to cover some common setup mistakes, some things you see along the way, how to fix all those, how to make sure that your back is safe, you're targeting the right areas, and just you turn this phenomenal functional exercise into a staple in your program. So you're getting better results, lifting heavier weights, and being more consistent and able to stay in the gym healthier and get what you want. So first thing when doing a deadlift, if you're at that level where you're on a straight bar, there are some progressions. So if you are not there yet, if you have any questions, hit us up. But it's the setup. Common mistake we see, people set up too far away from the bar, right? When you're approaching the bar, you want to have two main things, two main objectives. One, you want to set up about an inch away so that your shins are an inch away from touching that bar. And the other thing with a conventional deadlift, you want to make sure your feet are like what I like to call on train tracks. So they're directly underneath the hips, directly underneath the shoulders, maybe a tad wider than the hips, depending on your body type. But they are on train tracks, pointing perfectly straight, right in a line. Now, if you've got an issue where one foot flares out slightly and you can't control it or it starts to roll, match it on the other side. That's going to be crucial so that we're not pivoting the hips or doing any kind of rotation throughout the body. Now, the reason you go an inch away from the bar is so that you don't have to roll the bar into you, or worse, lean forward and start pulling from your lower back or shifting onto your toes. You can actually sink in and use the entire foot. Which brings me to the next cue. Foot. I really want you to grip that floor and spread. So what I mean is use your toes as if it was a glove, as if it was your fingers grabbing into the floor. When you push, you're going to think pushing the floor away from you as opposed to pulling the bar up. Right? You're trying to move Mother Earth away from you and you're just hanging on the bar and it happens to rise since you're pushing away with your feet. That means your toes are gripping in, your heels are driving through, and you're really pushing through your heels, but that entire foot is engaged. I also wanted you to think spread the floor. Pretend like there's a giant piece of paper and you're trying to rip that piece of paper in half. So if you just stood there and push apart, push your heels and your entire foot apart against the floor, you should feel your entire sides of your legs, entire sides of your glutes, fired up and turned on. We've already built a better base here. So we've got our feet in, we've got our starting standing position, so now we need to start working some upper body and grabbing the bar, right? Agreed. Now the nice thing, remember how you set up an inch away from the bar? When you hinge down to get the bar, now my shins are touching the bar. Which means, if we're looking at it from the side, that bar path is going to come straight underneath my shoulders, and then when I lift, it's going to fall right in line. I'm creating the shortest distance possible for that bar to travel so that I can lift the maximum load with good form, without bending over, without rounding over, I mean to say, that you possibly can. Okay? So by doing that, it causes you to drop down. Now you want to grip the bar by first placing your calluses on top, wrapping fingers underneath, and definitely going with a really tight grip. Common mistake, not gripping the bar tight enough. Not gripping the bar tight enough, you're not creating rigidity throughout your entire body so that you can get a great pull. So really squeeze down on that bar. Which brings me to our next tip. When you're doing that, you want your hands to be just outside your legs so that your knees push into it. You know how you're spreading the floor? Your hips are on. Now you can push those hips into the sides of your arms, so you're going to have maximum torque and rigidity throughout your body for that pull. Okay? Next tip, take the slack out of the bar. Just listen to this bar. There's a ton of play. I know I don't have much weight on here, but there's a ton of play that happens between the bar and between the plate. Even with the really high-end bars and plates, there's still going to be a little bit of give, a little bit of slack. Whiplash is what's occurring if you're just going down and pulling, right? Like your body is going through that jerking motion. So I want you to take the slack out of the bar. The moment you get down, pull that bar tight by lifting up just that little like 1/12 of an inch that slack is there. So you're not going to create that whiplash in your body when you pull up, all right? No, we're going through a lot. Next thing I want you to do is rotate the arms to the inside. Another way to look at it is think bending the bar around you. And the reason is deadlift, a lot of people that you've probably seen in videos end up in that rounded over position when they're pulling something that's too heavy for them or they don't have the proper support. Strength. And what we want to be able to do is turn on our lats. Lats are what's going to hold you up, even a little bit of your trap. It's going to hold your shoulder blades in position so they don't cause you to round over. The best way to do that is to think, this giant piece of metal, can I bend it around me? Now I know you can't bend a giant iron bar, at least I highly doubt it, or whatever type of bar you're using, but you want to think pulling it around you. And by doing that, just naturally do that, right? Your chest pops up because your lats turn on. And by doing that, you're gonna hold position. So think bending the bar around you, right? So if I can see the insides of your arms a little bit, that way I know we're bending the bar and setting up. So that's what I do. I sink into position, bring my shins into it, take the slack out, and right before I pull, my arms are out, so my lats are on, my hips are on, and I'm ready to pull. Which means I just need to make sure I'm doing these last few cues. Shaving my shins and sitting back. Shaving my shins means that bar is going to shave up my shins the entire time. It's going to be rolling along my shin. It's not drifting out in front. We created this beautiful setup, and now it can glide along our shins the entire way. If it's not touching, it's probably leaning too far forward, and in that case, we may be on our toes, or worse, we're having to grind through and pull through our back, as opposed to using glutes, hamstrings, the way this exercise was designed. So you want to think, sit back, tad into it. So you should be able to wiggle your toes initially, then once you lock in, toes grip, and you want it to just shave your shins, and then go right up onto your thighs. And the last thing is squeeze your glutes and your abs at the same time as you exhale. So that top part, you're exhaling and squeezing your abs and glutes just a little bit at the top to make sure you've got that full lockout. You're almost thinking Michael Jackson, right? So you're pulling in, but you're still compressing down with your abs as well, so you don't go into hyperextension. Last thing you want is to thrust all the way through, creating some back tension that's not needed. So you Michael Jackson it by locking out. Now the last thing that we haven't really talked about, covered pretty much every joint except for this one up here, the neck. Now I know throughout this movement pattern I've been looking up at you as I've been deadlifting, but you want to think that your neck moves in the same plane of motion as the rest of your body. A perfect neutral spine, more rigidity through the body, gonna create more tension, can help you pull better, pull safer. So what I want you to pretend is that you've got an apple or a tennis ball between your chin and your chest, which means there has to be space there. Well, the only way you can hold it then, because you can't hold it out here, right, is to pull back. So you're basically packing your neck back, creating a double chin. Now I know in the world of exercise and fitness, we're trying to help people get rid of double chins, but in this case, making a double chin actually helps you. And you're gonna create that rigidity through your neck. It's gonna transfer all the way down and through. All right, so quick refresh. Set up, inch away from the bar. Train track feet, right? When you hinge down, your shin should touch the bar. Grab so that your knees touch into you, spread the floor, grab your toes, push through your heels, twist your arms out, turn on your lats, bend the bar, shave your shins, go straight under your thigh, Michael Jackson, tennis ball. I know it's a lot, one piece at a time, work on one cue, film it, review it. That's the best way. If you have any questions, as always, reach out. Coach Joseph, Copper Moose Fitness, Deadlifting 101, I'm out.